Iconic video game characters are a strange thing when you really think about it. Yeah, we got the ones everyone knows, but what about the ones that it feels like we should all know but don't? Psychonauts is a perfect example. Why isn't Rasputin a more prominent video game icon? Why wasn't anyone hoping for Raz to be announced for Smash Bros, especially considering that his moveset would translate perfect to a fighting game of this caliber? You look at gaming journalists' top video games of all time, and Psychonauts is constantly regarded as one of the greatest video games of all time. And when the sequel came out and people were saying that this game improved on the already incredible first one in every way, and then people just stopped talking about it. I mean, even now, in the day and age where we get endless remakes and remasters, this game has yet to truly receive either of those, and that's just kinda criminal. This series has a cult following for a reason, and I want to revisit it because I did play a little bit of it when I was younger, but I was an idiot back then, and I didn't get that far at all. So, let's take a look at Psychonauts and give it the respect it deserves, gosh dang it. Psychonauts takes place at the Whispering Rock Psychic Summer Camp, and we've got a colorful bunch of characters sharing spooky stories around the campfire, and uh-oh, someone's listening in the trees.
Light monster!
Formation.
Turns out the sneaky eavesdropper is actually our main character, Rasputin, who ran away from the circus to join the Psychonauts.
My name
Starts with a D.
is Rasputin.
But Rasputin can't stay long since his dad, who doesn't approve of psychics, is on his way to pick him up in a few days. So with time running out, Raz goes all out in learning as much as he can, and this is where the first half of the game starts. The first few hours of this game are pretty much a tutorial, where we get to learn how to play, the mechanics, and what collectibles to look out for. But we do so by visiting the minds of our many teachers. First, we've got Coach Oleander, a retired, traumatized war veteran. Sasha, who teaches us how to use mental combat abilities and control emotions during these said moments, and Mila. Turns out her name is pronounced Mia, but I didn't know that, so I pronounced Mila the whole time. So yeah, who has a dance party going on in her head. And that's just kind of how the game works. You meet a new character, you go inside their mind, and you fix up how messed up they are, and it's gonna affect you and let you progress in the game. It leads to some fantastic and super creative level design. Coach Oleander's wartime memories make for like a basic tutorial level, sure, but that's when the writing really comes out swinging with how strong it is. We're gonna talk more about the characters later on, but man, I love this level just because I like interacting with all the other campers and the way they're tackling obstacle courses, and how much personality literally everyone has. And we're introduced to the many collectibles of the game and how surprisingly thought out they all are. Firstly, are figments. Figments are these outline types of floating items and characters that are found only inside the minds of people, and they represent something that the character thinks about, but not enough to really turn it into a physical item in their mind. I hope it makes sense because I'm really trying hard to explain these things like in a simplified way, but I'm also dumb, so I'm sorry. You can find these figments scattered literally everywhere, floating around in out-of-way spots, and you collect these and it adds up right here. And anytime it reaches 100, your mental abilities rank up. Every time your rank goes up by 10, you unlock a new ability, which you need to progress to future levels. So yeah, collect these bad boys. I also really like how much work goes into these figments. Obviously, they're like these amateur little drawing looking things, but there are so many, and every single level changes what they are depending on what the person is dealing with or what they think about, and I think that is super impressive. Coach Oleander's are like land mines and air balloons and fighter jets and soldiers, but later on, for example, when you're in the mind of an actress, all of hers are based on music and audience members and stage items and so on and so forth. You also have these cards that you can find, and when you find 9 of them, you can go to the shop back at the camp, because there's a shop back at the camp where you can buy all these items back at the shop back at the camp. But you can also buy this Psycore, and then you combine the Psycore that you bought with 9 of the cards to immediately go up a rank. But there's also cards that are already combined with Psycores and just immediately rank you up. When you're exploring people's minds, you can find emotional baggage scattered around their minds, and when you find the corresponding tag, it unlocks the emotional baggage and that ranks you up as well. There are also memory vaults, and these are some of my favorite collectibles because when you smack them, you get like this little slideshow that gives you a backstory to the traumatizing events that messed up the character so much. More on that later. Sasha's level is probably my least favorite in the game. It's very basic, and Sasha, while still being a good character, is admittedly the weakest character because he's mentally the strongest and the most sane and the most normal. His level is designed entirely around learning the game's combat mechanics, and he's like, his whole brain is like this square thing because all his emotions are in check and locked up. So when the focus on the combat, look, I really do not like the combat in this game. You got your smacks and your punches, but you can also lock on and shoot psychic beams, or set enemies on fire, or use telekinesis to throw them, the enemies, or throw items at them, the enemies. There's a lot here, but the controls themselves are so dated and clunky and not fun to use. This game shines when it focuses on other aspects of gameplay, that's platforming or puzzle solving. Combat is not one of them. Milla's level is fun enough. You learn how to levitate using this little psychic energy ball, and you can float around and run on the ball to go really fast, and you even get to participate in this fun race that gave me like Sonic vibes. It's a lot of fun, even if again, Milla is another not that interesting character, but she's still good. So after these 3 levels, the game begins its second act, and the tutorials are basically over. But before we move on, let's go back a bit. You see, in between each level, you have the freedom to explore the camp, and boy oh boy, if you ever play this game, please take your time and explore the camp. The design is so good. It's so warm and comfy while still having this creepy vibe, and not only is it like well written and like fun to explore, and you get to talk to all these campers around the camp, and every single one of these characters is not only like so likable and funny and well written, they all have their own little storylines going on that you can easily miss if you don't take the time to explore. First of all, the design of all these characters, I love this so much. This is like a mix of early Tim Burton with Invader Zim, and the characters are all rough around the edges, but the animation is fantastic and creepy, and the voice acting is top notch. I love all these characters and their stories. The game itself will never tell you this though, so if you go in not knowing any of this and you just focus on the main story, you end up missing so much top tier content. You got Bobby Zilch, a bully, and his best friend Benny, who acts like a bully but is actually just acting tough, but is really more scared than he lets on. These 2 characters are more basic with not too much going on with them, not too much character development, but they are both still well designed and so goofy and over the top you can't help but love them.
Ooh, Raz the Spaz is gonna be in a special class. Benny, remind me to give him a special beating later, okay?
My personal favorite character, Dogen Bull, who is a quiet, kind of shy, kind of dumb character, but he's so dangerous that he's forced to wear this hat to suppress his psychic power.
I'm telling you for the last time, no! I would never do that. I could never kill everyone.
You going to class?
Yeah, I'll meet you up there as soon as I get these guys to shut up.
My second favorite character, Elton, whose sailor dad died in the ocean, so now he's scared of the water, but also his power is that he can talk to fish, so he's always by the water just talking to the fish. You got Crystal and Clem, who are super happy and really nice and cheerful, and they spend their time cheering everyone on.
Hey, look! It's Raz!
Yay! Raz is here!
But if you keep checking in on them throughout the game, you realize they're both hardcore suffering, and at one point they try to kill themselves by drinking a poison, and when that doesn't work, they try jumping off a building together, but after surviving that, they kind of convince themselves that they're there to cheer people on during dark times. Every little story is worth playing through, regardless if it's something simple or cute or something dark and heavy. The writing really stands out as being so well thought out, and the more sensitive subjects are handled with care, and the characters have layers, and the dark humor is dark and humorous without feeling classless, I guess. But back to the main story. After completing our tutorial levels, this is where the second act begins, as we spot Dogen, who is walking around mindless asking for TV. After doing some investigating, we find out that he got his brain removed by one of the game's villains, Dr. Lobato. After this, we get thrown into this boss fight against this brain tank, and this brings me to a complaint. Again, the combat is very slow and clunky and feels super stiff, and it hasn't aged well at all, so when you're put up against these boss fights that shoot you with precision and whose health seems to go down so slow, it does kind of end up feeling like the boss fights aren't just not fun, they kind of drag. But it's okay, because eventually we destroy the brain tank, and afterwards Sasha announces that he and Milla need to run off on official Psychonauts business. And oh yeah, I haven't talked about this dude yet. This is Ford Cruller. the leader of the Psychonauts, I think, or maybe he's the leader of a specific division of the Psychonauts. I don't remember, but he's like important and he's a leader, like for sure. He can be found in random spots around the camp, usually taking on different responsibilities and identities, and he can pop out of your head anytime by calling him using a piece of bacon because it's his favorite food. Together, Raz and Ford put together that Coach Oleander is working with Dr. Lobato to steal the kids' brains and he's placing them in these like brain tanks in an attempt to create an evil army to take over the world because they hate mankind. Raz heads out to talk to Lily, who was another camp member who I haven't brought up yet, but she's the love interest, and again, I don't think she's my favorite, but I really do like her chemistry with Raz.
Lily, a deranged man is building an army of psychic death tanks to take over the world, and there's no one who can stop him, except for you and me!
Oh my god! Let's make out!
What?
Lily is kidnapped by this fish and taken into the ocean, and Raz has to face his fears because he is terrified of water, because him and his family and ancestors believe that they are all cursed to die in water. And bam, another boss fight against the fish monster that took Lily, and again, another really bad time as I try to get through the boss fight. There is a little cool moment where we play the game and we look through the view of the fish, and I like when games do that. I think Pac-Man World was the last game that I think that did that, and I liked how it did that, but it wears off pretty quickly, and it becomes disorienting, and again, it kind of drags on for way too long. We learn the fish monster isn't actually evil and is being used by Coach Oleander and Dr. Lobato, so Raz goes inside the fish monster's mind and we get our next level. Raz shows up to a city to find that he's seen by the fish monster as a giant destructive monster, and all the little fish monster citizens are terrified of him. We work to break the brainwashing he's endured, and I'm just gonna say it, while I do like the concept of the level and again the creativity, I'm still not a fan. I feel like it's way too combat focused, and while there are funny moments within the dialogue and the writing, it still kind of drags a bit, and I even found myself just kind of rushing through it to get it over with. After fixing the fish monster's mind, he befriends Raz and offers to take him to Coach Oleander and Dr. Loboto's base of operations at an abandoned asylum, but the gates are locked and we're introduced to Boyd, who suffers from severe paranoia, so of course the obvious thing to do is go inside his mind and fix him up, and bam, the Milkman conspiracy begins. Now for those who don't know, this is the level that fans of the game will tell you is the best part of the game. It's peak gameplay, it's peak story, it's even listed on some lists as one of the best levels in video games, period. And you know what? Hell yeah, brother. It takes everything that works about the game and it cracks it up to 11. It takes the weakest part of the game, aka the combat, and it kind of throws it out the window in favor of trippy, nonsensical puzzles that still somehow make sense, and some creative, funny, and still creepy writing.
Who is the Milkman? What is the mission of the Milkman?
Come closer. And I'll tell you.
Eventually, Raz finds out that Boyd got fired from his job in the past and he burned down his workplace and he was locked up in the asylum. Coach Oleander found him and messed with his mind even more to create a split personality known as the Milkman, whose mission is to destroy the asylum and the evidence when they were done creating their army. After finding out the truth, Boyd lets us into the asylum, but we're on a timer since he's still preparing to burn down the asylum. And while all this is happening, we start finding random brains scattered around which belong to our fellow campers, and they become a new collectible that we can go back to the camp and take and return the brains to their heads. Now, we need to get inside the asylum itself, but it's guarded by this strange character who has bad eyesight. So our new mission is to disguise ourselves as Dr. Lobato to be let into the asylum. Our first target is Fred Bonaparte. We go inside Fred's mind and learn that he used to work at the asylum, but then he became friends with a patient and they got obsessed with the strategy war game, and Fred kept losing time and time again, and he got driven to madness until he himself became a patient. We gotta help Fred win a game in his mind in order to fix his mind. And another absolute banger of a level. Yeah, there's a bit more combat this time, but I feel like it's not to a distracting degree. And the level design itself more than makes up for any combat shortcomings. The level is played as if you're like a figure on an actual strategy board game, and you need to go around completing favors for the farmers, the woodworkers, etc. so that they join your army and help you defeat the opposing army. Not much else to be said besides, again, the puzzles are simple yet trippy, almost nonsensical but still very fun, and the gameplay is fresh and fun. After fixing Fred's mind, he gives us his straitjacket, and we need to find something that looks like Dr. Lobato's robo-hand. So we go this way and we find Gloria von Guten, Now, this is an interesting character / level. On one hand, I feel like we barely spend time talking to Gloria. Even Boyd is given time to talk to us within his own mind. Even Fred. But yeah, Gloria gets nothing outside of this time we get with her before entering her mind, and that's very brief. At first, she's all nice and sweet, but as soon as she steps out of the light, she becomes this angry, almost bitter and jealous person who snatches the trophy from her hand, the same trophy we need to complete our disguise.
Or are you trying to take it because you don't think I deserve it?
No, you deserve it.
I didn't take anything from you. I didn't ask to be famous. I just wanted you to love me. Hey,
What?
you're supposed to be dead! Ah!
So we enter her mind, and we find out Gloria was once an actress. Her level consists of a stage play that we can switch around to recreate Gloria's childhood and many traumatizing events. It's the smallest level in the game, with the areas being the stage and the backstage, but the story is the focus here, the dialogue choices. Gloria's mom was an actress who never really became famous, and she was dating her manager. Her boyfriend / manager convinced her to send Gloria to a boarding school where Gloria faced abuse while being trained in acting. Gloria was miserable and wished for her mom to pick her up or even send letters to her. We do learn that her mom did send letters, but the boyfriend / manager made sure they never really arrived. Gloria became a talented actress and her mom finally came back for her, but Gloria was too good at acting and earned awards and recognitions everywhere she went, and her mom grew jealous of her. The two became miserable and jealous and resented each other, and when Gloria planned to go on tour just to get away from her mom killed herself as revenge, leaving Gloria guilt-ridden and mentally unwell to the point where her mind created a brutal, abusive, hypercritical character that destroyed her self-image and mental health. Learning all of this, we fix her up and she gives us the trophy, telling us she doesn't need it for validation anymore before leaving the asylum. With 2 pieces of the disguise, we only need 1 more, and we get that from the final patient in the asylum, Edgar. Edgar is an artist and we need him to paint a picture of Dr. Lobato, but something in him is preventing him from finishing. So we go into his mind and bam, next level. Now this level is a very mixed bag. On one hand, I do feel bad for the guy and I like the story here and I love the visuals, but the gameplay kind of falls short for me. Visually, the level is beautiful. We have tons of black being used mixed with multiple glowing colors that all stand out, feeling almost like a dark neon Mexican landscape, but the gameplay is more focused on combat and this bowl that you need to avoid by hiding in buildings and these 4 different boss fights that feel like nothing berries. We help him move on from this heartbreak in his mind, which allows him to finish the painting of Dr. Lobato. And with the disguise complete, we get past the guard, Crispin, who we barely get to spend any time with, but he used to be a patient in the asylum until he beat Fred Bonaparte at the strategy game, driving Fred insane. Crispin took over the role of a guard for the asylum, and that's kind of all we ever know or learn about him, but I do really like how he talks.
Dr. Lobato, good to see your face. I see you're wearing your favourite jacket. If I may say so, your claw is looking especially menacing today. Up to the secret laboratory then, is it?
We make our way to the top of the asylum, and this part is downright creepy as heck. The dark, ominous hallways, the sound design and spooky music, and the laugh in the distance. The platforming in this game isn't perfect, don't get me wrong. Just like the combat, it's clunky, heavy, wonky, kinda slow, but despite all of that, it still kinda really works. Raz always jumps and lands exactly where you want him to. He grabs onto ledges and ropes and edges right when he has to, and it's just really responsive stuff. The asylum is the perfect spot for this because despite its super creepy demeanor, it's chill. There's nothing chasing you, and I'm sure there's these little enemy rats that disorient you, but they're harmless honestly overall. You climb up ledges and you hold on to these poles, and the way you let yourself carefully fall and climb is like some really slow pace but still really satisfying parkour, and it does go on for a while, but even then it doesn't drag just because of how satisfying it is to play. As we get to the top of the tower, we notice this little mysterious character named Shigor, who is trying to prevent you from saving everyone because she has a pet turtle, and Dr. Lobato is holding that turtle hostage. And also Bubbles voices Shigor, and it's very distracting, but it fits the character.
Even if not even if I cook you a little...
Doctor, no!
A little turtle soup?
Please, Dr. Lobato, no!
A nice hot turtle soup. Nothing better.
And then this scene happens, and it kind of makes this whole experience worth it.
I was so scared! Now you're back, Mr. Pokelope, and you'll tell us what to do! Right? You've got a plan or something, right, Mr. Pokelope? Right?
That's right, baby. Daddy's here. Everything's gonna be alright. Now here's what we're gonna do.
After this, we defeat Dr. Lobato in a very anticlimactic way, which is fine. I never learned much about him anyway, and while I do like his design and his voice, he's whatever. Next, we have Coach Oleander, who puts his own brain in a giant tank, and we face off against it before Raz has his brain removed, and now we're playing as a brain, and we jump into the brain tank, and our mind mixes with Coach Oleander's, which is what the final level consists of, and oh boy, the meat circus. So you got Rasputin, who grew up in a circus as a performer, and you got Coach Oleander, whose dad worked in a butcher shop, and Coach Oleander had these pet rabbits that he loved as a kid, but his dad hated that he had pets because animals were meant to be killed and turned into meat, and he decided to take Coach Oleander's pet rabbits and kill them in front of him, which it left him severely traumatized as a child, as a normal child would be traumatized. Coach Oleander tried joining the army as an adult, but he was rejected wherever he went, which caused him to hate the people around him. And when he joined the Psychonauts summer camp, he lied and said he used to be in the army, and he even created a fake army-like mindset, which was a tutorial level in the beginning of the game, in order to recruit children's brains for his brain tank army. I mean, come on. Story-wise and villain-wise, Coach Oleander is an example on how you kill that shit. I love his character even before we find out he's evil. He reminds me of something from like Camp Lazlo, honestly. And with Raz and Coach's minds fused together, the level becomes a mix of a circus made entirely out of meat products. Gameplay-wise, we need to protect the young Coach Oleander and his pet rabbit from attacking foes while getting through the meaty obstacle course. This is kind of a tough level because the added pressure of Coach taking damage, so we gotta get to him before he dies, and then also later on the floor is flooding and we're being attacked from every direction, and the clunkiness of the gameplay goes from surprisingly responsive to annoying and redundant and funky dunky clunky, because instead of taking our time with precise jumps, we're now being forced to make split-second decisions, and these split-second decisions really show the control's age and wear and tear, and I just do not like the gameplay for this level and the final boss. You know how long I was in this level? You know how long, dude, this level, I mean, it's hard, and I understand that it's everything we've learned being thrown at us, but also, I hate this level. And then the final boss fight, which is the best boss fight in the game, but also is just kind of you blocking an attack repeatedly and then going in for a punch. It's good and it's dramatic and it's cool, but it's a little too simple while at the same time not always being responsive, so sometimes you die and it feels unfair. Yeah, after the final boss, Rasputin's dad finds him inside the mind and tells his son, "I don't hate psychics, I'm psychic." It's all a big misunderstanding. I don't actually know why Rasputin thought his dad hated psychics. I feel like they never really elaborate, but who cares? It's all a misunderstanding. Let's get out of here. And yeah, summer camp is over. All the campers are ready to go home for the summer, and Lily and Raz are like, oh, when are we gonna see each other again? And even Coach Oleander is happier and more at peace now that his trauma has been resolved, which is scary because in one of the campers' stories, when you put the brain back and they find out Coach Oleander is responsible, they plant a bomb under Coach Oleander's car, and I just remembered that, and I mean, that car is gonna explode. That car's gonna fucking explode. But anyway, one of the leaders of the Psychonauts has gone missing, and the one missing just happens to be Lily's dad. So her and Raz and Sasha and Mila and Ford and Coach Oleander all team up to find and save her dad, and to be continued. Psychonauts 2, baby, which I never played, so I'm pretty excited to play it and make a video out of it. Hell yeah, brother, like and subscribe this one. Also, I didn't even get to enjoy the ending of this game because for some reason the final cutscene bugged out, and this is how it sounded the entire time.
I hate this channel.
No!